I need to tell you about something that happened when I was 10 years old. Something that still makes me check every TV in my house before I go to bed. Because what I saw that afternoon wasn't just creepy, it was impossible. It was a Tuesday in October. I remember because Tuesdays were the days I got home from school before both my parents. My mom worked until 5, my dad until 6. That gave me about 2.5 hours alone in the house, which back then felt like freedom. I'd make myself a snack, flip on the TV downstairs, and just zone out until I heard the garage door open. Our house was small. 2 bedrooms upstairs, living room and kitchen downstairs. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. And it was always quiet in the afternoons. The kind of quiet where you could hear the refrigerator hum from the other room. I was watching some rerun of SpongeBob on the couch, still in my school clothes, when I heard it. Static. Loud, aggressive static coming from upstairs. It cut through the whole house like nails on a chalkboard. I muted the TV downstairs and listened. The sound was coming from my parents' bedroom. Their TV was on. Now here's the thing. I knew no one was up there. I'd been home for almost an hour. I would have heard someone come in. Our front door creaked. The stairs creaked. Everything in that house made noise. But I hadn't heard anything. I stood at the bottom of the staircase and called up. Hello? My voice sounded smaller than I wanted it to. No answer. Just that relentless static, buzzing like a swarm of hornets trapped in the walls. I climbed the stairs slowly, each step groaning under my weight. The door to my parents' room was half open. The TV was on, glowing cold and blue, stuck on a channel that didn't exist anymore, just snow and static. But what really got me was the volume. It was loud when I first heard it downstairs. Now, standing right outside the room, it was deafening. I walked in and hit the power button on the TV. It clicked off. Silence dropped over the house like a blanket. I stood there, staring at the black screen, my heart pounding in my ears. Then I noticed the remote. It was sitting on my dad's nightstand, right where it always was. I picked it up, turned it over in my hands. The batteries were in. It worked fine. I went back downstairs, tried to shake it off. Maybe the TV had a short or something. Maybe it turned on by itself. Electronics do weird things, right? 10 minutes later, it happened again. Same static, same channel, same impossible volume creeping up louder and louder. I stood in the living room, staring at the ceiling, and I swear I heard something else. Footsteps. Slow, deliberate, moving across the floor above me. I didn't go back upstairs. I just yelled, "Turn it off! I know you're up there!" My voice cracked. I sounded like a little kid because I was a little kid, and I was terrified. Nothing. Just static. Then the phone rang. Not my parents' cell phones, the landline, the one mounted on the wall in the kitchen. But the other handset, the one upstairs in my parents' room, started ringing too. I could hear it through the ceiling, shrill and insistent, competing with the static. I picked up the kitchen phone. My hand was shaking. Hello? Silence. Not dead air. Silence. Like someone was there, on the other end, holding their breath. Hello? I said again, louder this time. The line clicked. Dead. I hung up. And that's when I heard it. The TV upstairs changed. No more static. I could hear voices now. Faint. Familiar. I didn't want to go up there. I really, really didn't. But something pulled me toward those stairs. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the need to prove to myself I wasn't losing it. I climbed again, slower this time, my legs feeling like they were made of lead. When I reached the doorway, I saw the screen. It wasn't static anymore. It wasn't a TV show. It was a recording, a home video, the kind my dad used to make with our old camcorder. And it was showing me. I was sitting on the couch downstairs, the same couch I'd been on 20 minutes ago, same clothes, same positioning. The camera was angled from somewhere high up, like it had been placed on a shelf or mounted on the wall. I watched myself get up, walk to the kitchen, grab a juice box from the fridge, all of it from earlier that day. But we didn't have cameras in the house. We never did. I stood there frozen, watching myself on that screen, and then the video cut to black. The TV shut off on its own. The room went dark. I didn't wait. I bolted downstairs, grabbed my backpack, and sat on the front porch until my mom got home. When I told her what happened, she looked confused, then concerned. She went upstairs with me and checked the TV. She pressed the power button. Nothing. She checked the outlet. "Honey," she said, "this TV's been unplugged for weeks. Your dad's been meaning to move it to the basement." I looked at the wall. She was right. The plug was lying on the floor, coiled up neatly. No connection, no power. I didn't stay home alone after that, not for years. And to this day, I still don't know what I saw on that screen. But sometimes, late at night, I think about it. About how someone or something was watching me that day, recording me. And I wonder if it still is. When I was 8 years old, I learned that the scariest thing in the world isn't a stranger at your door. It's something inside your house that shouldn't be there. Something that knows you're alone. It was the middle of summer, one of those bright, boring afternoons where the sun was too hot to play outside and there was nothing good on TV. My parents had gone to run errands, grocery store, bank, the usual stuff. They'd be gone maybe 2 hours. I was old enough to stay home by myself, but my mom made me repeat the rules before they left. Don't answer the door for anyone, keep the front door locked, and if anything feels wrong, call her cell. I said okay. I always said okay. And honestly, I wasn't worried. It was the middle of the day. Our neighborhood was quiet. Nothing bad happened in the daytime. I was sitting in the living room flipping through channels when I heard it. 3 slow knocks. Knock, knock, knock. Methodical, deliberate. I muted the TV and listened. At first, I thought someone was at the front door, but the sound wasn't coming from that direction. It was coming from down the hallway, from my parents' bedroom. I sat there staring at the hallway, trying to logic it out. Old houses make noise, right? Pipes knock, wood settles. It was probably nothing. But then it happened again. Knock, knock, knock. Louder this time, more insistent, and it was definitely coming from behind that door. I got up slowly and walked to the hallway. My parents' bedroom door was closed, which was normal. They always kept it closed when they left. But standing there, just a few feet away, I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. The knocking had stopped. Everything was silent. I reached for the handle and tried to turn it. Locked. They must have locked it before they left. I didn't think much of it at the time. Maybe they didn't want me snooping around or messing with their stuff. I turned to walk away, and that's when I heard the whisper. It was faint, muffled, but it was there. A voice, soft and low, coming from the other side of the door. I froze, pressed my ear against the wood, and then I heard it clearly. "Sweetie?" It sounded like my mom, same tone, same cadence, the way she'd call me when she wanted me to come help with something or when dinner was ready. "Sweetie, open the door." My stomach dropped. My mom wasn't home. She was at the store. I'd watched her leave. I'd heard the car pull out of the driveway. "Mom?" I said, my voice barely above a whisper. No response. Just silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. And then the knocking started again. But this time it wasn't coming from the bedroom door. It was coming from inside the room, from the closet. Knock, knock, knock. I stepped back from the door, my hands shaking. The knocking got faster, louder, like someone was pounding on the inside of the closet door, desperate to get out. And then the handle started to rattle, not gently, violently, like someone was yanking on it with all their strength. I didn't wait. I ran straight to the living room, grabbed the cordless phone, and dialed my mom's cell. My fingers were trembling so bad I almost dropped it. It rang once, twice, 3 times. Hello? Mom, you need to come home right now. What's wrong? Are you okay? Someone's in the house. Someone's in your room. I heard them. I heard you, but it wasn't you. And they were knocking and... Honey, slow down. We're on our way. Stay on the phone with me. Lock yourself in the bathroom if you need to. I didn't go to the bathroom. I stood in the living room, staring down that hallway, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my mom try to calm me down while my dad drove as fast as he could. The knocking stopped. The house went quiet again. But I didn't move. I didn't go near that hallway. I just waited. When they finally pulled into the driveway, I was out the front door before they even got out of the car. My mom hugged me, asked me what happened, and I told her everything. She looked at my dad. He grabbed his keys and went inside first. I waited outside with my mom. A minute later, he came back out. He looked confused. The bedroom door's wide open. So's the closet. My mom frowned. What do you mean open? I mean, wide open, both of them. I shook my head. No, the bedroom door was locked. I tried it. It wouldn't open. My dad looked at me, then back at my mom. We don't lock that door. It doesn't even have a lock. I felt my blood go cold. I followed them inside, down the hallway, and stared at the door. He was right. There was no lock, just a plain brass knob, the kind you twist, the kind that opens from either side. But I knew what I felt. I knew it wouldn't turn. My mom checked the closet. Nothing inside, but clothes and boxes. No one hiding, no sign anyone had been there. My dad checked the windows, all locked from the inside. No broken glass, no forced entry. They tried to tell me it was my imagination, that I scared myself, that maybe the knocking was the air conditioner or something shifting in the attic. But I knew what I heard. I knew that voice, and I knew those doors were closed when I ran. Because when I looked back one last time before we left the hallway, I saw something they didn't notice. On the inside of the closet door, near the bottom, there were scratches, fresh ones, like someone had been clawing at the wood from the inside. I've never told anyone the full version of this story. Not my parents, not my friends, because the moment I try to explain it out loud, it sounds impossible. But I know what I saw, and I know what I heard, and the worst part is, I still don't know which was worse, the man outside the window or the one who was already inside. I was 10 years old. It was a Saturday afternoon in late fall, one of those gray, overcast days where it gets dark earlier than it should. My parents had gone to my sister's soccer game a few towns over. I'd faked a stomach ache to get out of going. I just wanted to stay home and play video games. They said they'd be back by 5. I had the house to myself for 3 hours. I was in the living room, sitting on the floor in front of the TV, controller in hand, completely zoned into some racing game. The curtains were half open. I remember that clearly because the light from outside was hitting the screen at a bad angle, but I was too lazy to get up and close them. That's when I saw the shadow. It passed by the window, slow, deliberate. At first, I thought it was a neighbor walking their dog or someone cutting through our yard. But then the shadow stopped, right in front of the window, and I realized it wasn't just passing by. Someone was standing there, looking in. I froze, didn't move, didn't even pause the game. I just kept staring at the TV screen, pretending I hadn't noticed. But out of the corner of my eye, I could see the shape of a man. Tall, still. His face close to the glass, like he was trying to get a better look inside. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I didn't want to look directly at him. I had this stupid kid logic that if I didn't acknowledge him, maybe he'd just go away. Maybe he'd think no one was home. But he didn't leave. He just stood there, watching. And then I heard it. Footsteps. Upstairs. My stomach dropped. The footsteps were slow, heavy, deliberate, like someone walking through the hallway above me. I could hear the floorboards creak with each step. The same boards that creaked when my dad walked to the bathroom at night. The same ones I heard every single day. But my parents weren't home. No one was supposed to be upstairs. I finally turned my head toward the window. The man was gone. I shot to my feet, my legs shaking, and ran to the front door. I grabbed the handle and pulled. Locked. Deadbolt still in place. I checked the back door. Locked. I checked every window on the first floor I could reach. All locked. But the footsteps upstairs didn't stop. They moved from the hallway into my parents' bedroom, then into my room, then back out into the hallway. Slow, methodical, like someone was searching for something. I thought about running outside, thought about screaming for help, but I couldn't make myself open the door. What if the man from the window was still out there? What if he was waiting for me to run? So I did the only thing I could think of. I went into the downstairs bathroom, locked the door, and sat on the floor with my back against the tub. I pulled my knees to my chest and tried to stay quiet, tried not to breathe too loud. The footsteps stopped. For a few seconds, there was nothing, just the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen and the sound of my own heartbeat. I thought maybe it was over. Maybe whoever it was had left. And then I heard breathing, right outside the bathroom door. It wasn't loud. It wasn't raspy or exaggerated like in a movie. It was just there, steady, calm. The kind of breathing you hear when someone's standing close to you, close enough to touch. I didn't move. I didn't make a sound. I sat there on that cold tile floor, staring at the crack under the door, waiting to see a shadow, waiting for the handle to turn. But it never did. I don't know how long I sat there. It felt like hours. At some point, I heard a car pull into the driveway. The garage door opened. My parents were home. I waited until I heard my mom's voice calling my name before I unlocked the bathroom door. I stumbled out, nearly tripping over my own feet, and ran straight into her arms. I was crying, shaking. I tried to explain what happened, the man at the window, the footsteps, the breathing, but it all came out in a jumbled mess. My dad searched the house, every room, every closet, every corner. He checked all the doors and windows again. Nothing. No sign of anyone there, no forced entry, no footprints, nothing out of place. They called the police anyway. 2 officers showed up, walked through the house, checked the perimeter outside. Same thing. No evidence anyone had been there. One of the cops told my parents it was probably just my imagination, that I'd scared myself, that being home alone can do that to a kid. My dad thanked them and they left. But my mom didn't let it go. A few days later, she was talking to our next-door neighbor, Mrs. Cardone, and mentioned what happened. That's when Mrs. Cardone got quiet. Real quiet. Then she asked my mom how long we'd been living in the house. 3 years, my mom said. Why? Mrs. Cardone hesitated, then told her. Before we moved in, the house was empty for almost a year. The previous owner, an older man who lived alone, had died inside. Natural causes, they said. But he wasn't found for days, maybe a week. Neighbors only noticed because his mail was piling up. And before he died, people in the neighborhood had seen him, standing at the windows, staring out, sometimes at odd hours, just standing there, looking out into the street like he was waiting for someone, or someone. Mrs. Cardone said she didn't want to scare us, didn't think it mattered. My mom didn't tell me that story until I was 16. And when she did, I felt that same cold dread I felt sitting on the bathroom floor. Because I don't think the man outside the window and the man inside the house were 2 different people. I think they were the same people. And I think he never really left.